But the reason that I'm really pleased and proud to be here is because of what you do. Here in the mountains of eastern Kentucky, you work hard. But what do you do for America? You produce the electricity that keeps the lights on for tens of millions of Americans. The energy that runs the factories that employs hundreds of thousands of Americans in our manufacturing sector. And you provide the most affordable energy in the world that has made America the most productive and richest nation in the history of the world. So you should be proud of what you do, and it's great to see all of you here today. But I spoke in West Virginia last week, and I'll say the same thing. I know people are in trouble when you see this many people getting together. What are you in trouble with? You're in trouble because there are people in this country who have an agenda that says we're going to get rid of coal. Who are those people? Well, let me just name a couple. One is Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Now, she's from San Francisco, and she probably doesn't know any better. But look at another one who should know better. Former Vice President Al Gore. He said last year that we have to get rid of every coal-fired power plant in this country in the next decade. That's 50% of our electricity. Where are we going to get it from? The wind? Is the wind blowing today? What would you do if you needed some air conditioning today or some lights tonight? The wind doesn't blow in the summertime. Now, what is going on in Washington? Other speakers have mentioned it's this crazy thing called cap and trade. Now, what is cap and trade? Well, let me characterize it in several ways, and then I'll explain it. First of all, cap and trade. Cap and trade is the biggest tax increase in the history of the world. It's the biggest intervention in people's lives since the Second World War, when we had rationing. To win the war, the government took over the economy. They gave ration coupons to everybody for gasoline, for food, for basic commodities. That lasted 4 years. Cap and trade will last forever. Cap and trade is energy rationing. It is a sneaky, hidden tax. It's the worst kind of tax because you can't see it. It's a hidden tax. Now, what will it do? It will raise energy prices. It will not work unless it raises energy prices. And how will it raise energy prices? The first target is coal. It will get rid of coal. Now, some people say that it won't cost very much. It'll only cost the average family $175 a year. That's what they say. And as some of the environmental pressure groups say, it'll just be a postage stamp per person per year to reduce our emissions approximately 2% per year under the Waxman-Markey bill. And by the way, let me digress. Henry Waxman, who is he? He's the chairman of the House Energy and Commerce Committee. He's been in Congress since the early 1970s. Who does he represent? He represents Beverly Hills. You think they worry about their electricity prices in Beverly Hills? The other person behind this bill is Ed Markey. He's been in Congress since the 1980s. He represents the Boston suburbs. They used to be the workhouse of the world. That was back when they had cheap energy. Now they have expensive electricity and they have no more manufacturing. That's the future that they want for the rest of this country. Now, how much is it going to cost? Well, when the Republicans were not allowed to offer an amendment on the floor of the House. They were not allowed. Only one amendment. A 1,510-page bill, and they can only offer one amendment. But in committee, they offered 3 amendments that you should know about. If the bill is so cheap, if it's so cheap to reduce our emissions and stop using coal, oil, and natural gas, why were these amendments defeated on nearly a straight party line vote? One, the cap and trade will be suspended if gasoline reaches $5 a gallon. Henry Waxman and the Democrats said no, we will not support that amendment. What about if unemployment rate reaches 15%? They said no, we don't care if it reaches 15%. We have to save the planet. The third amendment, what if electricity rates double? What if they go up 100%? We'll suspend the program. Henry Waxman and the Democrats said no, we don't care if electricity rates double. Now, this is what you're up against. It's great to see all of you so happy and enthusiastic today, but you got to get angry, and you got to get angry. You got to get angry beyond the borders of Kentucky, because this bill is now in the Senate. You've got two great senators. You've got two great senators, Mitch McConnell, the minority leader, and Jim Bunning. They're going to vote the right way. They're going to work like hell to stop cap and trade. But there are a lot of senators right across the border who aren't as reliable. Sherrod Brown in Ohio, for example. Jay Rockefeller in West Virginia. You got to go and you got to get to these people. You got to show them how angry you are. Now let me just read one more quote here to tell you what you're up against. You know, when I was asked earlier about the issue of coal, you know, under my plan of a cap and trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket. So if somebody wants to build a coal plant, they can. It's just that it will bankrupt them, because they are going to be charged a huge sum for all that greenhouse gas that's being emitted. Who was that? That was a senator, January 17th, 2008. He happened to be running for president. His name is Barack Obama. So I just want you to know that you're really taking on the whole political establishment in Washington. You got to get angry. You got to get out of Kentucky. You got to tell people around the country. And the final thing I want to say is, this is about the coal industry, but it's much bigger than you. It's about the economic future of this country. Do we want to become a second-rate economic power? Do we want our children to have poorer lives than we do? Now, so when you're working for coal, remember, this is about America. You're working for the future of this country. Just keep that in mind. That should keep you going in the dark times that may be ahead here. But I'm losing my voice. Keep fighting, and don't forget that you got to be angry and you got to fight. Thank you, and God bless America.